pose the orientation of your sensor relative to this INS device, this reference point, then it's fairly easy to do this registration. I mean, if you know that the INS is here, you know it measures its heading in the case of the radar, and you know that the radar is installed in this position relative to the INS. You know its azimuth compared to this INS heading. Then it is quite trivial to say where in the world this target is, that you know this INS heading. Right. This is the basic principle of registration, where you have some location and pose reference. So it is actually a rather simple. If you want to do it without this kind of reference, then it gets complicated, because then the registration has to be based on the data. So you need to kind of look at, for example, in the radar, analyze the things you are seeing and try to project them on the existing information. For example, shorelines. Try to match shorelines and kind of figure out through a kind of depth reckoning and previous data where this new data lies. That is a lot more difficult and more kind of error prone also. But that's something that you need to do if the INS breaks down, or the whole, I mean, if the GPS is spoofed or whatever, then maybe you need to have something like that as a backup. But I won't talk about that much today. Typically, this is what you would do in this kind of system. A last exercise, just to make sure that you understand this important topic of registration, have this exercise. So, just to take a minute to understand what it is. We have radar. We have the world coordinates. Some listing. The GNSS INS is 100 meters east, 100 meters. This is the location of Earth. And it sees that it is heading directly west. Okay. You know that the radar is installed 10 meters behind this location reference, so it is somewhere here. Now the radar measures an object at distance 100 meters, azimuth 90 degrees. So where is this object? In a nutshell, this is the registration problem. So what would you say? It is.
So it's 90 meters east, yeah, behind the GNSS receiver.
So you have to remember that the radar angle is aligned with this INS. Okay? So the zero angle for the radar is here. And it detects an object at azimuth 90 degrees. So that would be here, like so. It is somewhere around this.
Yeah.
And it is at the distance of 100 meters. So because this point was 100, and here we have 100 meters, so the target would be here. And the target coordinates would then be, this is easting, I think it would be 110, right? And 0.
So 110 east, 0 north.
Yes. So what you have to remember is that the sensor just see through their own eyes, and you know where the GNSS INS is. So you need to go from the GNSS to where the sensor is. This is like something you need to measure very accurately when you install these sensors. And then you can kind of sum these directions and distances together and get the registration for any given point. Yeah.
Why is it 90 degrees and going down? Why isn't it 90 degrees going upwards?
Because this radar reference angle was in this direction, towards west, right? And if you measure the azimuth 90 degrees from there.
Could you say the object is not displayed in north-south condition?
The object is displayed in north coordinates. And this has its own local reference, own coordinate system.
I think like a compass or anything, you go 90 degrees that way, 180 is behind you, and 270 is on the left side. But
okay, this is always what you get into. So coordinate systems, you need to define your coordinate systems and your directions. So my coordinate system is, this is how I think, and this is for the polar coordinate mathematics. And positive angles go like this. So this is actually pi per 2.
okay, so heading will always be 0, and then 90 will also always be on the left side. Or
yeah, well, it is counterclockwise in my head. But this is important because we have run into trouble when you're developing these systems with multiple teams, and people then have different coordinate systems. So you need to specify when you're doing sensor fusion and registration and things like this. In the very beginning, you should define what coordinate systems to use with every sensor and so on. So these are not, there is no correct answer. You can use multiple coordinate systems, like which kind you use to.
That's a logical way of course, understanding it.
as a navigator, we are simple people, we don't understand the
But I think that this is a fairly common way of happiness.
So,
Just ask for confusion, this one though.
Yeah, but it's a very good point, and this is super important to be clear about these coordinate systems. Otherwise, you have very difficult to debug problems in your system. Because things will be in the wrong places, and you have many coordinate transforms and you're completely lost. You have practice. If it's not just a couple of guys doing this, if it's a bigger team. But yeah, that is registration. This radar is good because there you just basically have the azimuth and the range. It's very easy to understand how this correction works. With LiDAR or whatever point cloud data, you can think of radar as a point cloud data on a plane. For example, on the seaplane, you can think that radar is like that. So then actually radar lives in the same space as LiDAR. But for generic point clouds like LiDAR, it's the same. But in addition to heading and position, you need the full total vessel with each yaw and roll, and also the full orientation of the LiDAR sensor with respect to the GNSS INS device. Right? Because you need to know the angle of everything. You only know the angle of the INS. And to estimate anything else, you need the relative positions. But the computation is exactly the same. But let's not do an exercise on that.
For situational awareness, what would you say, what's the weight ratio between the signals? If we see GNSS IS as the ground point, is it like 80% or?
What way?
In weight ratio when to establish your situation on where you are, what's the weight ratio?
That is completely up to the algorithm running there. I cannot say. It depends so much on the inaccuracies of this. Well, actually, I will get in the very last slide. I will get into this how to fuse different measurements. There is a computational framework which is kind of optimal for that. So let's return to that. Okay, a few minutes. Okay, but LiDAR data, when we have good registration, this should be smooth, but this is where that's when you have good registration, LiDAR data looks like this. It's very nice. So this is 16 times speed, and this is probably somewhere in Denmark, maybe Copenhagen. It is scanning the harbor area continuously, and you need to do registration to combine these points. I mean, since the ship is moving, if you didn't do registration, all of this would just be a blur. Because the points would be kind of left where they were a while ago, and you could not distinguish anything. But basically, it is correcting for the ship's movements and putting each of these points to the correct position. But you can understand why it is very important to have really accurate INS devices if you want to do this kind of measurement, because these point measurements are centimeter accuracy. If you want to get them to the right places, then the INS should be also of similar accuracy. And if you think about projecting a point a kilometer away, then a tiny fraction of a degree of error in this angle estimation will cause the point to go to the wrong place. So that's why this kind of particularly bore sighting of the LiDAR takes a lot of time. It's quite like intensive manual calibration. That is one kind of challenge with the LiDAR. Actually, it's rather hard to calibrate. With the radar, it doesn't matter so much. I mean, the points were, as we saw, like can be 10 meters by 10 meters. So if there is a few centimeters error in the relative position, it doesn't matter. Okay, camera data registration is different. Camera data is not a point cloud. Images, as we discussed, are projections of objects, 3D objects, to some 2D plane. And it is not possible to know the location, the real location of an object from a single image if you do not have any additional information. Or do you think it would be possible? This is good. To give an example, this is the focal point, this is the camera field of view. If you think of this in 2D, we have some pixel here, and there is no way of knowing if it is in this point, anywhere on this line. There is simply no way of knowing it. Unless you know something about this, like it is part of an object, or you know its height. In that case, it becomes a two-dimensional projection, and then you can compute the location. So you need additional information. The good thing is that the sea is kind of flat. So the sea plane is kind of a zero plane where the elevation is always known. Or if you have a lot of waves that this kind of breaks down, but let's assume that. So for any points on the sea plane, we can estimate the distances if we know the camera height. And if the height is constant, then we can configure or can pre-calculate this fixed mapping from camera images to real-world coordinates. It is not a very difficult problem. I meant to have this as one kind of board exercise, but I don't think we have time.
From which point do you measure the sea level? Horizon? Close to your position?
With respect to the camera.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
So on the seabed plus the height of the camera, that would be the calculation for.
Well, what happens is the model is something like this. So we have the camera. This is from the side. So we have some camera very badly from this. Let's make it like the camera is here. It has a field of view of this. Maybe keep it straight. So here we get a triangle where you have camera height, you have the C-plane, and you have some pixel which is somewhere in this range. So assume that your pixel is at this angle. You know basically these angles here. And you can compute with just basic geometry where a specific point lies, where this kind of intersection with the C-planes plane lies. So this is some very basic triangle geometry. And basically, you can define this kind of mapping for the whole image. So what you see here is actually a projection of the same kind of camera panel that I have shown, but to basically map coordinates. So if we had the map, we could overlay, and you should see that there is a shoreline. We now have this kind of fixed projection from the camera plane to the real coordinates. But of course, you are assuming that you know exactly this camera height and the angle of the camera and the opening as well. If they stay constant, it's fine.
And the estimation anyway, because it's not very accurate.
Yeah, but you can get actually pretty good accuracy. So, for example, in the Swan project, it could operate only with camera, so it was estimating the object's location just on the camera also, just as kind of a backup. And we saw that the distance estimation was something like, the error was something like under 10%.
Okay,
So it's up to maybe a little bit under 1 kilometer.
Yeah, okay,
So if you do very good calibration and you know all the parameters, you can do quite good distance estimation on the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's one example. This is not very good because this was not optimal system, but here we have visual camera, thermal camera, object detection, and registration. So this distance is estimated purely on this camera. And we are using, kind of fusing the two different types of cameras, and you can get more information like that. So between cameras, you can also do registration, and that's very important. So mapping thermal images to align exactly with visual images. So here you can see that first you have just the visual and you render in the thermal completely aligned. So this camera registration for objects on the sea-plane is very useful because it gives you a kind of backup for radar. You don't always see all objects on radar. So this is very, very useful feature.
Have you done any work with cameras identifying colours of lights ships are displaying or shapes, or is that a little beyond at the moment?
That is actually, yeah, I mean, that's something that has been a long time in the plans, but not something we focused on. It's actually very interesting camera task because it's more like conventional computer vision. You don't really need neural networks because identifying lights is a very relatively simple thing. So it is actually something that should be done. But there it's more like the logic of what a light means. If it's blinking on a certain frequency, what does that mean? So it's a different kind of analysis. Here's another example of registering different data on the camera plane. Again, this unfortunately kind of destroys the video, but we are overlaying here every now and then you see thermal cameras, again aligned perfectly with the visual cameras. And here you can see the LiDAR sweeping these vessels. So this is the actual LiDAR sweep pattern that you see across these vessels. So again an example of multi-sensor registration.
Is there possible to find it information on Google or YouTube or this kind of?
Well, these examples, well, these are not anywhere. These are like own development data. These are not even any UI for us. This is just R&D data which we have collected sensor data and done the registration to visualize the sensors. Okay. We are kind of nearing the end, but I have some examples on like how you would combine the data. So typically you would do this visual object detection, and if it is good enough, you can measure with pretty good accuracy the distance, as we discussed, through this sea level, or the where the ship meets the sea. Also, you have some semantic information. You can usually identify these types of ships, so this is pretty easy to identify as a passenger vessel. So probably you can then also see an AIS message. For example, this would be MS model, I guess. Somewhere here, maybe the AIS data is a little bit outdated. Also on the radar, you see some large object roughly in this area. So combining these, basically, you can take all of the information from the different sensors and kind of get the big picture. So you know that this is a passenger vessel, you know that Amorella is a passenger vessel, probably it's the same vessel. From the radar, maybe you get the most accurate distance measurement, or from the LiDAR. So you know its type, you know what it looks like, you know where it is, with good accuracy, and from the AIS you get a lot of other information also. So this is the basic principle of taking information from different sensors and getting this kind of more comprehensive information. And also, we discussed this registration already, so if you want this kind of UI features, then of course you can overlay in this kind of AR way whatever things you want to have on the map, for example, route plans, you can project them to the camera. So that may be a very useful feature for operators. And you can, it's the same thing, you don't have to use sensor data, you can just generate whatever information and show it to the world.
Or you can add the no-go zones, I mean,
Yeah,
if it's
sure.
narrow passage or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. So I mean, all of that is kind of trivial once you have calibrations on these numbers. So I mean, I think that the imagination is the winning base. And here's an example of the sensor being data. Again, this is real data. So we have different sensors measuring the distances of these objects. So we are doing object detection and measuring within the detected object, for example, the average of some median LiDAR point distance, for example. So that gives us, I think the purple one is probably the LiDAR distance estimation. The red one is the visual estimation, so we are segmenting these boats and measuring, for example, the closest point visually. And we get a pretty good, actually quite well corresponds with the LiDAR measurement, this visual distance estimation. And then we have AIS information, that's the green one. The interesting thing here is, if you look at this one, the LiDAR and visual estimations are something like 650 meters, a little bit over. And AIS message is around 800 meters. So why is that?
So like they're intermittent transmissions, it's not continuous streams.
No, it's not that.
It's position
These
of
other
the
ones are
transmission.
really accurate.
Oh, my
Yeah,
gosh.
so the position of the transmitter.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. So very important with large vessels. The AIS transmitter is somewhere. You don't necessarily know where it is. If the ship is, say, 200 meters long.
Well, that information is given. The AIS offset.
Yeah, okay,
location
yeah.
is put in. If it's put in accurately.
If
like,
it is
you know.
put in accurately, then yeah. But I would say that it is very valuable information to know this like real distance measurement or the closest point of the vessel. Because if you just blindly trust the AIS messages, then again somebody would spoof this and make it collide with it or something. Yeah. But it's a good example. This gives you the real distance to this, while the AIS gives you something which is 150.
And with this sensor fusion data, would it also be possible one day maybe to combine the radar functions on the cameras? So we can see the vectors and the TCPA or these kind of data?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you mean like the close function approach and so on.
At the time for the closest and the bow crossing and this kind of things?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we have been doing something like that. I mean, it is not a very difficult thing when you have these measurements. And of course, you can extrapolate and can predict where they will be. And I should have shown that to you. I have done like a newer video actually where we plot these predictions, like lanes to the future
exactly, that's right.
for each of these vessels. And of course, you could give a warning when they are too close to each other. So we have actually been working on this.
So you can have your own routes, your own actual heading, and vice versa come to the closest points.
Yeah.
And that's what we
That's
have been
actually
dealing with too. So.
And the visualization is kind of trivial. The prediction is not trivial, but it is known how to do it. There are models for that. So the most difficult thing is, of course, getting these reliable measurements and the situational awareness. Okay, if we talk about sensor fusion, I'm obligated to talk about Kalman filtering, but I will not go into that in any detail. What Kalman filtering is the kind of standard way of combining measurements from different sensors, or let's say a very widely used way. So the thing is, what do you do when you have multiple measurements which give different readings and they have different accuracies and so on? What do you do? Well, typically you apply Kalman filter. The mathematics of Kalman filters are, well, at least they are typically presented in a very painful way, really hard to follow. But the principle is fairly simple. A Kalman filter has, first of all, for all of the sensor inputs it uses, it has some estimation on their inaccuracies. It has some idea of how much noise is in, for example, the radar measurement, LiDAR measurement, camera estimation, and so on. They can be kind of historical estimates or based on this kind of analysis that we have been doing, like on the accuracy and so on. And the filter has some model of movement of the track object. It can be like that it's modeling the speed, acceleration, rate of turn, these kind of things, or something more complicated. For example, in the car industry, they can use even this kind of bicycle model of turning, so there's like a model for how the wheel turns and how the object can turn. But that's completely depending on the scenario and what you are actually tracking. So then the Kalman filter, what it does is it predicts the location of the object for the next time step using its movement model, and then it updates the model parameters based on the sensor inputs it gets, kind of weighted or combined based on the inaccuracy of them. So sensors which are less accurate maybe affect a little bit less these parameters than ones that are noisy. So if there is one sensor that is always perfect, the Kalman filter should basically use that and ignore the rest. But this is kind of not optimal, but very good way of combining different sensors with different accuracies. Then the filter basically kind of repeats this cycle of modeling, measuring, and measuring. It's the basic principle. And in certain kind of theoretical cases, this is an optimal way of combining data when you're dealing with Gaussian variables and so on. In real life, it is not optimal, but it is a good way and a very computationally efficient way of combining these sensors. That was actually my last slide, so now we can discuss if you like. I would have this kind of appendix, because this is what I really do, this neural network development, machine learning, but I don't think we have time for that. Here is some material on the kind of evolution of object detection models and neural networks. But yeah,
Would you please add that if you extract this presentation and
Yeah.
put it to a PDF mode, would you please
I can
do that
include-
as well?
Yeah, I
Because
can
it's
include this.
interesting and very eager to learn.
although this is pretty light on text, so,
Yeah.
but maybe this will give you some idea. Maybe I can include some references, you know.
Yes, please. That would be great. Really helpful.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I want to work a little bit on providing this PDF. Please remind me.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so any questions or comments or whatever?
This human factor, like we noticed this with the 90 degrees azimuth, we haven't time if we, either we are in cockpit or in remote control, we haven't time for having this knowing it is azimuth 90 degrees.
No, of course not. So there has to be very.
It must be displayed
Yes.
without any
Sure,
possibility to
sure.
interrupt.
Yeah, but I mean, what we have been doing, we have implemented multiple of these remote control stations, where the idea is that you have a very wide panoramic array of screens, and you see this camera panorama in like real time. And the captains have said that their kind of experience of using that is very nice, that they have like better visibility than on the actual boat. And the latency is tolerable, so you actually feel like you are operating with that. But the other information, then it needs to be something that is very familiar, like this type with real-time information or whatever, this kind of map-like presentation, which is understandable.
The weakness is when what happens if one system fades out.
Yeah, I mean, you need some kind of redundancy for that, of course. But
You cannot always drop anchor. So
no, it is true, and that's a very difficult question. What is the backup system?
but as you said, I understood you said how much info is this. The data is very huge amount of bits.
Yeah. But one
Where goes the point when the human doesn't understand what it gets?
Yeah, but one thing.
Oh yes, need to be in place or
One example of what we have been working on is you can control the vessel based on the camera feed because it's very natural. It's like looking through the window. But we can also do this. We can handle this in a kind of AR type examples. AR type view where everything is overlaid on top of the video. But if the connectivity suddenly drops, we lose bandwidth. And we could, of course, just remove the video part and just show this sensor information. I have a demonstration of that, but I don't have it with me, unfortunately. It's still, I mean, you can still see this vessel very clearly. And actually, in this case, you see everything you need to steer, even though the display is hugely reduced. It's not preferable, but something like that might be possible. You are generating this kind of virtual world, in a sense.
yeah.
So then, when these systems are more and more reliable, there will be less reliance on the camera feed, which are a big problem in connectivity systems. But of course, there are components which can break and cause you a big headache. Like if the whole connectivity breaks, then there is no remote control. So there are, of course, redundancy needs to be put in the right places.
But how much actually does the Navy cannot tell here, your former employee and Coastal really put on the research on the human factor? I mean, all technical development will mostly lead to that the behavior needs to change also. So
Yeah.
do you really put time on this issue also or on,
Yeah.
on the technical parts?
We have multiple sea captains working on this development, and also a lot of this kind of user experience development and studies on like what is usable, what is good for the captains to use in this remote control.
And with we, you mean the K or the R?
Well, so far it is the same team. Same like that. I mean, the ship intelligence was moved as is to
Yeah.
transferred. But the future brings is unknown. But let's talk about the RR part. We have this kind of very broad range of competencies.
I had the question with the latency. So, have you noticed any sort of like in terms of sensor latency, any sort of irregular behaviors from the, because I mean in the end it's machines, in case like in terms of a camera sensor, we know it has its own capability, it's a lens, you get more amount of light than you were supposed to capture, it's blinded, it's damaged, there is a sensor failure, and also there is, I mean, have you noticed when in terms of SWAN project, did you notice any surprising behaviors from the sensors which you were not expecting? Like the machines can be surprising.
Well, yeah, I mean, partly there are areas, of course, which are challenging, like control systems. For example, the thermal cameras have been giving a little bit of headache because they're, I mean, it's a little bit different control problem than with the visual cameras, and you need to make sure that it's kind of, it's more difficult to operate in all weather conditions, for example. But otherwise, I mean, of course, you need to test the different sensors and you need to have good diagnostics on whether they are operating correctly and so on. And of course, what I didn't talk about is synchronization. So you can't just put sensors on board the vessel and take everything in and put it together, because everything comes in different rates, have different latencies for each sensor. The network internally is very complicated. So the important thing is to have a good timestamp. So you have a global clock which is attached to every bit of sensor data you get. And one task in the sensor fusion, again, which I didn't cover, is kind of synchronizing everything. So making sure that the images are in the same time as the IR points and the radar measurements. That is a big computational task, but it's not rocket science. It's just basic computation and software. But still, these systems are very complex, and you have very high data rates and many sensors.
So have you been surprised ever by the sensors? Like, okay, there is something that surprised you?
Well, in the very beginning, I guess that I was rather impressed by the LiDAR technology that we have been testing, because it is, I mean, it's very nice data if you have it running correctly and accurately, well calibrated and so on. Of course, the question is like, is it always necessary? No, probably not, but in some cases it's very valuable data. If you have very difficult navigation scenarios, very tight, very tight border areas or very congested borders, then this LiDAR can be very good.
Because in terms of the aviation, for example, we heard the whole Boeing production has been put on a halt and revised because of a software glitch.
Yeah.
So this could happen also in the ship intelligence. So what are the chances?
Well, of course, I mean, the point in development is to make it right, and you have to have a lot of testing and this kind of validation and verification. And I think it's a very long project, to be honest. I mean, you need a lot of hours recording data with these kind of systems. They are not ready yet, but and actually part is to get the kind of classification societies somehow on board. And somebody needs to say what is the level of performance that is acceptable or what is required in certain conditions and so on. So everything is kind of wide open still at this point.
It's like an immense, just you count for the perfection, but human are not either perfect. So
yeah, I mean, you can say that this kind of system should be as good as a human, but nobody can say how good a human is. There is nothing to compare to, because that's not something that has been measured. If you make this kind of situational learning system to do the job of watchkeeper, then to prove that it is as good as the watchkeeper, you should somehow observe many watchkeepers doing their jobs. in a real life scenario, not like we will be looking at you for 10 hours as you do your job. They will not fall asleep then, but maybe in real conditions they might. But there is no such data. This is a big challenge.
Fatigue, they have the Chalmers in Gothenburg, they are in good shape.
Yeah, I'm sure that this is like probably in the research field people are working on. Yeah.
Studies in simulator.
Yeah, yeah. But it's